You're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
There we go. Perfect. Got rid of all static.
All right, cool.
Sweet. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Probably my fault, so don't beat yourself up.
Hey,
over it.
it's our first joint live trainer talk, so it is okay.
Right.
Wow, I am honored. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome.
you.
All right, so we're actually going to start it off with some rapid fire questions right here.
Yeah.
I
I
love
thought
it.
we were ending it that way. He's like, no, we're starting it this way. So
I love it. Let's do
All
it.
right. All right, so iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
Morning, noon, or night?
Morning.
K-pop or hip-hop?
Hip hop.
What celebrity annoys you the most?
Kim Kardashian.
Okay. What is the strangest thing you have ever eaten?
Oysters.
Strange?
gross.
Really?
It's gross.
If you could buy
I
one
said
food,
bear.
she said bear is weird. If you could buy one,
we're gonna go
food,
back to that, by the way. But
yeah,
okay.
right, exactly. so if you could buy one food right now, what would it be?
Pizza.
Pizza. Okay, perfect.
I can't
I-
eat it, but I'll buy it.
Perfect. I guess
Yeah.
so. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. What got you into podcasting and fitness?
Yeah. Well, first, again, thanks for having me on, man. I love
Yeah,
what
of
you guys are doing, and I'm loving the live videos. So keep them coming. I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks that. So appreciate you. I mean, for me, I was a personal trainer going back probably, I don't know, 6 years ago, and I was a trainer
Right.
for about 4 or 5 years, and I love the industry. I still love it. I work out 4 or 5 times a day, or excuse me, a week. I
Killing
wish I
it.
could work out. I wish I could work out that much per day. But it's the fitness industry has always interested me since I was 16, 17, 18, and just being a trainer just kind of solidified my passion for it. And once I got out of the industry, unfortunately, I had to change some career paths around, but I wanted to continue to talk about it and spread the education I know and just my knowledge and also my interest to it. And hopefully there's someone out there, whether they're 18 or whether they're 50, hopefully they can learn something.
Yeah.
So that's what really motivated me to start a blog, and I did that about 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And then apparently I didn't know this because I listened to podcasts for like the past 5 years. I don't know if you guys do too, but I mean I listened to podcasts for a long time. It turns out a podcast, all you have to do is upload audio to the blog,
Yeah.
and it's a podcast.
yeah.
Like it's literally that simple to start a podcast. So I was like, wait a minute, I already have a blog, so let's do it. So about a year ago, I had episode 1, and I was actually using this, not this exact one, but I used this to record my first podcast, and I uploaded it. And now, as you can see, I have, you guys know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been here. So, and I'm actually recording this prior to
There you
upload
go.
for a podcast. So,
Perfect.
but now I specialize on that podcast. I talk about health, nutrition, fitness, saving money, literally all the things I messed up on when I was a kid. I just pretty much talk about that and just try to spread the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's like, I love just looking at all the different things you touch on the podcast, especially all the stuff you've done lately when it comes to like all the environmental stuff. Like
Oh,
that
yeah, for
is
sure.
such a cool thing. And
appreciate it,
just so much that people don't realize is going on, and a lot of that can actually tie into like food and health as well, because it's like a lot of it is wasteful stuff just from us, from the way we're buying our food and us disposing of our food and all that type of stuff too.
110%. And it's funny you say that because that's kind of what drove me to that avenue of getting on not just the topic of climate change and climate correction, whatever you want to call it, but it really kind of got me interested once I started being vegan. I know you guys touched base on that
Yeah.
as you introduced me, but being a vegan really kind of opened up my eyes to not just what we're doing to animals, because of course that's tragic, but what we're doing to the earth. And we just know so much now I mean, us humans, we're very smart, and we've gotten a lot smarter. We're stupid in a lot of other ways, but in terms of like the health industry, we just know so much now, more
Yeah.
than we did even 10 years ago. So I think sometimes we forget that because we know all this stuff, it's hard to learn these new things and kind of
Right.
accept them.
Yeah.
And when you're a vegan, you're forced to kind of be in that culture that is different and out of the realm and something we're not used to because our parents usually drove us through McDonald's and got us a McRib and we thought that was cool.
Right.
This is not okay though. This is the world is different now, so it's
So,
it's definitely got me into it.
so for those that don't know, I mean, Daniel and I know like your background, your story. Why did you choose to go vegan and have that lifestyle?
Yeah, so it at first it wasn't because of the cruelty of animals. Obviously, it's horrible, but before I was some jock meathead that was watched Lion King and believed in the circle of life and thought that was all true and great. And,
Right.
I mean, to an extent, I guess it kind of is, but again, because we know so much now, humans don't have to have meat. Like we know scientifically, you don't have to have meat. It's okay to eat meat if that's what you want to do. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no right or wrong, I don't think, but I think the Earth is at the point now to where we kind of have to start thinking outside the box a little bit. And I wasn't really thinking that far ahead. And then all of a sudden, about 3 years ago, something hit me, and turns out I have an intestinal disease, and there's no cure for it. It's Crohn's disease. It's a very rare case of Crohn's. Most of the time, people that have Crohn's, you eat like a chicken wing and you got to go to the bathroom. That's not me. For some reason, I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and I'm fine. And then just one day, my stomach closes up, literally closes up, and nothing goes in, nothing goes out. And I swell up. My belly gets about 10 times its size, and I have to go to the hospital and get pumped out. They don't know what caused it. There's no cure. All I know is 3 years ago when I first had my first attack, I tried switching my diets up. I cut out red meat for 6 months, still having episodes. I went on medication, still having episodes. Went to fish only, and then of course veggies and fruits. Still
Right.
having episodes, still on meds. And then all of a sudden, I watched a couple documentaries like we all have, but I actually implemented it, and I went vegan, 100% plant-based. And I'm off my medication almost 18 months now, and I haven't had an episode.
Right.
So I can't say it's because I'm vegan. I can't say because I'm eating plant-based. All I can tell you is that just kind of worked for me. And it's been proven that, going plant-based and eating whole foods not only can stop these type of diseases, intestinal diseases and inflammation and flare-ups, but it could literally reverse it. So my doctor, my gastrologist said that I'm in remission, and we're gonna maintain it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep off my meds, and if something happens, we'll kind of cross that bridge when we get to it. But as of now, I mean, we're good.
Which is great. So like one thing that I get all the time, like we sit down, we have our focus meetings, we're talking to everyone, and we do have a lot of vegan clients.
Sure.
And what I struggle with is they ask me how to get in their protein, like post workout. I know again,
Totally.
Coming with your background, turning vegan, with your personal training background, what are some of your good go-to proteins for like post workout? Because that is somewhere where I struggle to recommend where they should go.
Totally, yeah, and that's a good question. And I just recently may have figured out what, again, works good for me.
Right.
But that was a big issue for me because even whey, whey is a milk isolate, so it's technically it's not vegan. And that was my go-to. So I used to have, whey protein shakes 4 times a day.
Right.
I wake up in the morning, I do my post-workout, pre-workout. I'd have protein all day, every day. I just a scoop away, and I was in the game. So there's a lot of good vegan alternatives or plant-based proteins. I would probably say the best one, most popular is probably pea protein, PEA. But hemp is extremely beneficial to me in particular. There's a lot of studies that are out right now, and again, studies 1 minute could be correct, and then the next minute, who the hell knows? But hemp protein has been proven to be the least, lack of a better word, contaminated, because there's been a couple issues with pea protein that because all the pesticides that we use in treating vegetables, that peas have been contaminated,
Right.
and what they use for pea protein. Like I think Beyond Meat is dealing with that right now because they use a lot of pea protein isolate and stuff. So I've been using straight hemp, and there's no particular brand that I use. Anything with just straight hemp. The ingredients are important. I know you guys talk a lot about this, which is where just get good at the ingredients reading.
Quality.
Yeah, the quality is
5 or less. And
correct. Yeah, so as long as you just kind of research and do your due diligence and looking into that, I would say hemp or pea protein is probably the best. Now again, with those, the struggle for me, because I'm about 155 pounds, is trying to get enough protein.
Yeah.
So that's where your whole foods and your veggies come into play. So it's got to be that raw plant-based protein as opposed to powders.
Yeah.
I probably do one or two scoops a day, which is about 30 grams of protein.
Okay. So then even say that you're talking pre-workout meals, right? Like,
Yeah.
other than fruits and veggies, what other go-tos do you use to get in like your good carbs?
Yeah, so I'll do either a little bit of brown rice,
Yeah.
maybe sometimes. I'm a quinoa nut though. That's my go-to. I'll do like 2 or 3 scoops of quinoa a day. I love that. What's another good one? I mean, before the workout, usually I go pretty empty because I do a lot of intermittent fasting. So I'll do my mornings. I'll do like a black cup of coffee, maybe a little bit of sugar, nothing crazy, but some raw cane sugar, and then I'll do my workout in the morning, and then afterwards is when I intake my protein, which is about 9 o'clock, 8
Okay.
o'clock. So I usually hit my workouts like at 5 in the morning. So that's a little I mean, for you guys, obviously that's normal, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
For most people, it's kind of tough because you feel like you need that energy during your workout. So a lot of people try to carb up beforehand, and that just didn't work for me. I mean, it worked for me in the past, but the way my diet is now, I have a lot of energy. It's very weird.
when people usually work out fasted, or work out early in the morning, I recommend that they eat their pre-workout meal at night at dinner.
Totally, yeah. And especially if you're on, the meal plan I am. I mean, if I wake up in the morning and have some food and then go work out, like 10 minutes later, there's no way I'm doing more than 5 minutes of cardio before I'm like, so.
Yeah, no. And then with how calorically dense, like those whole foods that the fruits and veggies are, do you find it a struggle to actually hit your necessary calories? Just because a lot of fruits and veggies and it does kind of sit heavy and it's tough, right? So what?
100%,
Yeah, they're
What are like
nutrient-dense
your
calories.
strategies to make sure you do hit your calories?
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, the big thing for me is the meals that I do have, to your point, are very dense, but they're a little bit of fiber. Sometimes I do my beans or my pintos, but like at night in particular, I'll have, let's say, some quinoa and then a quarter can of black beans, quarter can of pinto, and then maybe I'll do a little bit of brown rice, like maybe a half a scoop of brown rice, and I'll mix that in with everything. Throw in some tomatoes, some zucchini, some squash. It's a pretty hefty Chipotle-sized bowl, but it's got no meat in it. So if you literally weigh out and you do the math on how much protein versus like a Chipotle bowl with chicken and the same ingredients, I'm just adding a little bit extra of those plant-based foods to make up for that chicken. And you'll find if you do something like that, because it's a whole food, depending on what you obviously put in it, you're going to feel very, very full. A lot of people don't think, like me and my wife, we struggled this argument because I had to convince her to go vegan with me because I was the first one to take the plunge. But she always argued with me. She's like, well, how are we going to be able to eat all the food? We're not going to be full. Like, we're going to want to eat more. And I'm like, just try this. So I make this big bowl, and it's nice and hearty, and it's not a bigger bowl. I mean, it's just a regular cereal bowl, but it's so hearty and it's so dense and it's so full, and your body's not used to it. Once you chow that bad boy down, maybe do a little seasoning or some hot sauce, whatever you're into, I'm telling you, it's very satisfying, and it fills you up.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Unless you got a teenager in the house. That's like my argument.
Yeah, and that's why we don't have kids yet. But I'm sure once we have kids, I'm screwed. So I'm gonna have to figure out something else.
And I swear, like, that kid will eat everything in our house.
It's
And
all
he's like,
good.
I'm still hungry. What else do you have? And I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you should be like 5,000 calories.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's great. And it's like, I'm glad that, the whole transition to vegan has really helped, especially for you. And it's like, my whole thing is like, to
Thanks.
people out there who may have stuff like Crohn's or celiac or anything like that, right? Just at least give these different things a try.
Yeah, totally.
Because then you never would have known unless you actually dove into that world.
No, 100%. And, I always tell, I had a couple people on my podcast that asked me about this just a few weeks ago. I had one of my buddies that's an up-and-coming comedian. He lost, 75 pounds in 6 months, and he eats meat. You know, so it's there's no really right or wrong. It's just, to your point, you got to figure out what works for you. But we just have to kind of be careful of educating ourselves, right? So the one thing I struggle with trying to get this across to people is don't be vegan, because it worked for me. Be vegan because you've done your research and it works for you, but B, it is good for the environment. And that's, 20 years ago, we didn't worry about this, not because we weren't smart enough to figure it out. It's because we know more now than we did before. And what we're eating on a daily basis is affecting the earth. That's a fact. So you and I, the three of us, we're going to be fine. We're going to wake up in 20 years and the earth is going to be here and we're going to be able to eat red meat and everything's going to be good. But our kids, we don't really know if it's going to be okay for them. If the three of us continue on the path of eating how we eat and driving the cars we drive and all that, it's gonna make a negative impact. So if the whole world decided to go vegan for a year, if you do that mathematics, it will affect the earth in such a positive way in just that year. Well, and then we can all go back to eating regular, but if we just all tried it, eat a little bit less meat, eat a little bit less fish, and all the plastics and all that crap that go in the ocean now too. Again, we didn't worry about this 20 years ago, but think about it. If you just eat fish and you think you're doing a good job by eating fish only, I mean, if you go look at the ocean, all the plastics that they eat, and then that's just going right to the sushi table and you're eating it. So
true.
Well, when we buy, I go to sustainability. Well, I look at sourcing and I talk with Brooke about sourcing, and I'm like, sourcing matters with everything we eat. And
absolutely.
Those are conversations we have with our food.
Yeah.
We look at sourcing even when we look at our seasonings or cereal, not
everything.
Cereal, but everything. I'm sourcing matters when it comes down to our rice. I'm like, okay, where is it sourced?
Totally.
Where is it? How's it packaged and everything like that?
No, you're absolutely right.
All conversations.
Yeah. And we're very fortunate because we're able to have this education. I mean, I feel very lucky that, trust me, I want to have pizza and I want to have cheese and red meat, but I'm very lucky that us humans and all these doctors out there that are doing what they got to do to make things easy for people like us to figure out what's in these foods and what's good and bad for us. I mean, we're very fortunate that we're smart enough to kind of figure this stuff out, so we just kind of can't take it for granted, and you only get one body, so.
I did see a study, I'll shoot it over to you, where they're talking about eventually wanting to, or they were talking about eventually taking it where they're going to have the world eat crickets and microbugs. I'm not kidding. As
I might do it, I don't know.
Sustainability source. And it's talking about how to convince everybody that that's what the world would need for sustainability. I read that. Are you serious? I think it's in my textbook. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, please do. That'd be great to hear.
I talked about it with you, and I was like, are you serious? I was like, I would have a heart attack if she saw this and saw that we would have to eat all of this.
Right.
Yeah. But us, us Americans, if we just ground that stuff up and throw in a burger and serve it through a drive-through, no one's gonna know.
So,
which is kind of what we talked about on your podcast, that how they dub everything. But we're gonna circle back real quick before we let you go. When it came to being a personal trainer, what did you find to be some of the biggest struggles that your clients were facing? Was it more so nutrition based? Was it more so emotional based? Or where were you finding your most common struggles?
It's a good question. I would probably say the biggest thing, just something that stands out, would be outside influences.
Yep.
That was the biggest negative. And this was back then, I was training in 03 to 07-ish.
Right.
So 4 or 5 years, but social media wasn't a big thing. I think Facebook just came out.
Yep.
It was only available in colleges, so it's not like people were taking pictures and posting selfies. It was a matter of they would pay me and I would tell them one thing, then they would go home and their entire family's eating like garbage. So would they listen to a total stranger, or will they listen to people they've known for 20 years? So that just kind of goes back to we all have to educate ourselves and just do what's right for each other, and just not kind of fall into the fast food, the quick diets, like we talked about on my last podcast. Like, all the stuff that people say it could be right, it could be wrong, but just do the research yourself. Because that was my biggest struggle when I was a trainer, was trying to convince these people in an hour that what I'm saying is right, So the trainers are your trainers for a reason. They're certified. It's their job. They work hard to get there, and I know I did. So just don't take that stuff for granted, what they say, because they want to help you and they want to make it better.
Yeah. So I mean, it just comes back to, like, even with us, we say just trust the process, right? Trust the people who are giving you the information. Trust your trainers, because ultimately we're trying to just benefit you guys, right?
Yeah, totally. It's like I related it a lot to like playing sports.
Yeah.
Like I was big into wrestling and football, and if I ever imagine if my wrestling coach said, "Hey, this is how you do this one move," but then I go to my mother at home and she's like, "No, I saw on HBO, this is how you do the move." And I'm like, "Okay, Mom, that makes sense." And I go do that at a meet on Saturday, I'm going to get my ass kicked. So,
right.
I'm going to listen to my coach because they know more. It doesn't mean my mom is not smart, but maybe for that particular subject, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So
yeah, which is the truth.
Yeah. Listen to your coach.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to your coach. Listen to your trainer. So, man, we'll definitely have to sit down again. It was great being on the podcast.
Yeah, cool, man.
Where can they catch you? Right here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. So you can follow me on Instagram. It's at the Berardo Podcast. But if you want to see my blog, I do a lot of vegan recipes and healthy recipes. And for you people that don't want to go vegan, that's okay. I do other recipes as well. And that's at the Berardo on Instagram. Or you can just go to my website and you find everything there. It's theberardo.com.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Anything else, Iris?
Stay tuned next week. We're going to have a very special guest from HQ.
Yep.
So can't tell you guys who it is, but just stay tuned.
And thank you so much, Tony.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Take it easy. Bye.
Thanks, Tony.